Section YY podcast coming to you Wednesday night. We are recording this thing February 22nd. Harb and the month of love is almost over. How are you feeling?
I've had a really busy last few days. So rest of the week is going to consist of rest and sobriety and lots of H2O. And then after that, I think I'll be ready to roll.
Good.
And I'm playing golf in the morning, so looking forward to it.
Where are you playing at?
Sevierville.
Sevierville Golf and Country Club.
Eagles Landing. For the
real ones out there, Eagles Landing Golf Club.
Yeah,
now Sevierville International, whatever you want to call it.
There's rumors of a live golf tour event going to be at Sevierville in like 2025.
Hey, I saw you tweet this, and I'll get to Big Montana in a second. I saw you tweet this, and I saw this earlier today and forgot to respond. But should golfers on the live tour be allowed to play in the majors? And I say absolutely yes. And you answered the same way I would. I guess the PGA would be the only one that would be out for those guys.
Well, the PGA Championship is still not directly affiliated with PGA Tour.
That's true.
PGA America.
That's true.
The only reason I said yes to all of them except PGA is because last year they were allowed to play in it, and I think it's just because nobody really knew what the hell was going on. But I think now, I do think the PGA of America is going to kind of dig their heels in and be like, no. But I truly do believe that's the only one that's going to do it, because the Masters and the British Open are already letting them. And I think the U.S. Open will too.
Yeah, and all three of those for sure are their own thing. So, especially the Masters, they do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they took commercials off of the air one year. What was that lady's name? Burke. Geez, I'll have to look it up. She kept wanting to protest because women weren't allowed in the club, and she was wanting everybody to protest all these companies, and they were like, "Fine, F it, we'll just pull the commercials." So they had a commercial. I'm pretty sure it was commercial free Masters. I can't remember what that year that was. I'll look it up when we're talking later. But so Harb's with us here on this week's show. Big Montana's here with us. He originally said he wasn't going to be here, but obviously he's here. What changed your mind?
I'm here. I got my work done.
Oh, good.
Normally, we end at 10:30, and I got like 45 minutes to be done. So when you said we weren't going to do it at 9, I was like, I'm not going to have time.
So that 30 minutes
job.
I gave you helped you.
It really did.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's a good one, Harb.
Thanks.
30 minutes. That's like 3 weeks for some people, right?
Yeah, no kidding. You got about 5 rounds out of you.
Let's see. We do shout outs at the end of the show. I'm going to do one at the start. I'm not real sure this is a shout out, but was announcing the Carter game. Carter won the district tournament. Shout out to the Hornets. So that is a shout out. So one more, Nick Ellis and the Slim Reaper, Brody Blankenship, are one more tournament. Well, sorry, 2 more tournament wins. Let me correct that. 3 more tournament wins away from being special guest on the YY podcast. I made a bet with them. If they win the region, or if they win the district tournament, win the region tournament. This was made like 3 weeks ago. Brody's like, man, when can I come on the show? When y'all gonna get me an NIL deal with the podcast? And I was like, well, first off, we have no money. I went in the hole.
Revenue stream first.
Yeah, I went in the hole with these things, with these stickers. So but I was like, well, I said, I'll tell you what, I'll make you both a deal. Y'all win the district tournament title, the region championship, and I'll have you on. So they are 3 wins away from that happening. It doesn't happen if they lose the region championship game, as we've lost Harbin. Got to get Harbin back.
Harbin's got to come back.
He's on that Biden notebook he's got.
Harb's going to have a long episode. He better get back.
He's going to have a long one. That's what she said.
He's going to get. I'm going to drag him behind the Chevy here in a minute.
Well, he drug you last week.
He tried to.
So some of the listeners asked me, It was pretty. Harbin was pretty rough on you last week. So, and you took it like a champ. I mean, how were you feeling when all that was going on?
That I knew next week was going to come. It was just like when the Lord was on the cross.
Yes.
And we're waiting on Sunday morning, baby. It's Sunday morning, and it's about to get good.
Harbin, he'll be back, or maybe he's hiding. I don't know.
He's hiding.
So while we're waiting on Harbin, because I can't start this without him. So
good.
Good. I mean, even my shout out, I needed him here for because he knows the person I'm going to shout out. But so this is throwing the show for a loop. So while I'm texting Harbin, go ahead.
It's like March Madness, survive in advance.
Survive in advance. That's what I've been doing.
Yes.
So I was looking at some scores here before we got on. And I know there's a long way to go in this game. This is Wednesday night, but South Carolina is currently leading Alabama 22-16. Tennessee plays South Carolina this Saturday. Alabama's had a lot of issues, Big Montana, this week, coming out with Darius Miles. Is that his name? Or Miller? Not Darius Miles. Darius Miller or Brandon Miller, whatever the heck his name is, number 24, actually provided the weapon, and it was asked of him to provide the weapon in the murder that the other fella committed. So, allegedly committed. But Alabama, their fans on Twitter, and again, we've said this the last couple of weeks, you can't take Twitter too seriously. But, man, they were defending this guy nonstop, almost like they were defending, what's his name, that punched the girl walking off Shields-Watkins Field back in October.
Yeah, they're trying to spin it like this guy was taking him to the club and he left his pistol underneath a sweatshirt in the back seat, and Miller didn't go to the club, but he went to go out to eat, and the other dude said, "Hey, won't you come pick me up?" And when the guy got there, he grabbed his gun and went and shot the guy, and he happened to have the car blocked in to where they were at. And they're going to do, I mean, I guess I would too if I was in the situation, but you hire a good lawyer, I guess. But they're going to do whatever they can to get this not to stick. But this is just two guys just being absolute dumbasses. I'm sure whatever the argument was, well, you shouldn't kill anybody for any reason.
No.
Shouldn't kill anybody for any reason. But like I understand if someone's breaking your house or trying to hurt your family, blow their head off. No problems there.
Self-defense, yes.
Self-defense. Yes, blow their head off. But anyway, this was complete and utter stupidity on behalf of the two gentlemen at Alabama. Hopefully justice is served. If they can prove with reasonable doubt that this guy wasn't involved in it, then that's what the judicial system does. But right now it looks pretty shady. And Nate Oates looks like a complete dumbass. Some of the comments he's made, I saw Dick Vitale's tweet today, and he absolutely dropped Nate Oates. Which
it was tone deaf for sure.
Yeah, he was just like, can't believe the guy's even playing tonight, and couldn't believe he actually said that. And and like, why in the world would you go public with texting Ray Lewis? I mean, that was just something else that was stupid.
That's the thing about Nate Oates. He's done two questionable things in this whole process, and it really doesn't have anything to do with the player.
How you get away with it, Ray?
Hey, Ray, how'd you get away with that? Yeah. And then he comes out. I'm trying to find...
email out to O.J. Simpson, too, apparently.
Yeah, when's he going to call? Oh, Johnny Cochran's dead. I was like, when's he going to call Johnny Cochran to come represent this guy? I'm trying to find his quote from yesterday, and I can't find it. But he basically said he was wrong place, wrong time. And I'm like, how tone deaf can you be when there's a text message that says he asked for the weapon? I don't know what's going on down there.
Apparently, he didn't actually ask for the gun. He used a slang term for pistol. I don't know what that is. What it was, huh?
It's peace.
Peace.
It wasn't peace. It was something else.
I don't know. I was just bullshitting.
We're just, hey, Harbin, we're ad-libbing here because your Biden book went out.
This damn Joe, hell, it ain't even a damn Joe Biden laptop. I bought this. This is kind of funny when you put it in these terms. I bought this when Obama was still in office.
My God. Well, it's not been that long ago.
No, but the battery's shot on it.
So before we get going to what we really need, we've been stalling hard because we needed you here.
Also, that shit in Tuscaloosa is shady. So I'll throw my 2 cents in on that.
Yeah, Alabama. That's why I was telling Big Montana. You know, they're spinning it trying to defend this guy, and I'm like, it's the same way they were trying to defend what's his name that punched the girl in Shields Watkins Field after they lost to Tennessee back in October.
Yeah.
Alabama is truly full of some dumb people. Truly.
So I read the official statement from Brandon Miller's lawyer. Did y'all read it?
I have not. No.
Pretty much what it was saying was, Darius Miles. So they played a game that night. Darius Miles texts Brandon Miller for a ride downtown to the strip of Tuscaloosa. Had a backpack with him. And pistol was in that backpack. Well, he drops him off some nightclub. Miller's not going in there, so he goes to eat. Well, he gets another text from Miles. It was like, hey, I need you to come back over here. Blah, 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 whatever. And he came back to get his backpack. And the defense attorney was pretty much like, he had no idea that the pistol was even in the car. Blah, blah, blah. And that,
of course.
But it still doesn't explain why his car was in the way.
Yeah.
And got bullet holes in it. And obviously, if it's coming from his defense attorney, it's going to be worded in a way that makes him sound innocent. And I don't know. And hell, he might be. I don't know. But the way it's all looking right now is it don't look good. It don't look good at all.
The text message at 1:38 a.m. sent to Miller was, I need my joint. Racial expletive, just got a fakin.
Just got a what?
A fakin, Fakin. I assume that means we're about to shoot somebody. I don't know. That's just.
Well, I mean, that's what happened.
I guess. Hey, I need my joint. Somebody's out here faking.
Hey, in the word.
So that
holler if you hear me.
So that girl that got killed, Miles and a guy that she was with got in an argument, and then that's when Miles texts Miller that. Yeah. Obviously, that was not in the defense attorney's official statement. But yeah,
Clay Travis has it all out there, and he's a lawyer, and he explained it pretty well.
He's a lawyer.
I don't know. Yeah,
he has a law degree from is it Vandy or Alabama? I can't remember.
It's Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt, yeah. He's a graduate of Tennessee and Vandy and Alabama.
He's a graduate of George Washington and Vanderbilt.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
didn't know he had a law degree.
Yes.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah. You need to read his book sometime. I've read it.
It's really good.
I've got it right here. On Rocky Top. I couldn't remember the name of it. It was about Philip Fulmer's final season. He was just going to write a book about Tennessee, and ended up being Philip Fulmer's final year as the head football coach. So it's a pretty interesting book. That was like when I first heard of him, and that was in 2008. So, well, I guess it came out in 2009. But, in the words of 50 Cent, got caught in the wrong hood and filled up with holes. That's what happened to Darius Miller's.
Many men wish death upon me.
That's right. Real quick,
blood in my eye, dog, and I can't see.
Real quick, Harb, I wanted to give not a shout out because I was talking about the Hornets. So that is my shout out, but I don't think this is a shout out. This is a like shaking my head moment. At the game last night, halftime, I went to go get a water, and this person told me they have listened to the show, not daily, not weekly, but Chloe stopped me and said, "Hey, how's the podcast going?" I said, "Oh, it's going great." And she said, "Oh yeah, YY12, right?"
Sad.
Unfair.
I wish that I was shocked with that coming from Chloe, but I'm just not. I'm just glad she got the YY part right.
But she got half of it right. We'll give her that.
I'm happy for
You
her.
got to give
I'm
her
happy
credit
for
for
her.
that. I
We'll
think.
give her credit.
Yeah,
And she did ask how it was going, so she is aware of it.
Yeah.
So,
shout out to Chloe for checking in and listening from time to time. We'll leave it at that because we're a positive podcast.
Yes. Shout out
for maybe the next 40 seconds.
Shout out Chloe Shared for listening to the show. I told her I'd get her a sticker.
Perfect.
All right, so let's get this thing rolling. We got a lot to talk about. Harb, you got a bullseye on you. We'll get to that in a second, but I want to address Vol Nation. Y'all got my text messages Saturday night. I was wound up tight Saturday night. I'd had a long week, long day. Saturday.
You ever get loosened up?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
You ate some fiber.
But it came out smooth. But I was so aggravated Saturday night because Tennessee baseball kicked off this past weekend. They lost to Arizona last Friday night, 3-1. They lost to Grand Canyon University, I think, 4-3 on Saturday night. And all I see on social media is like, oh, it's early. That's all right. Oh, them boys will be fine. We need to get them bats going. It'll be all right. Nothing to worry about. But when Tennessee basketball loses, all hell breaks loose. It's the end of the world. The sky's falling. Fire Rick Barnes. He needs to fire his assistants. He needs a new offensive system. Why doesn't he stand up, Big Montana? I don't know. He's been standing up. Anyways, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing things out there. My hands are moving around a lot. I'm agitated. I don't understand why we don't get equally upset over the number 2 team in the nation losing to unranked opponents that they should beat. Where is the outrage? I want equity. And I'm telling you right now, and this may ruin this show, there are some idiots in Vol Nation. I'm just sorry. There are some idiots out there, and nobody on this show. But it's crazy to me to read this stuff. And I get it. I played baseball, played basketball. I know it's early. But are you telling me that if Tennessee basketball lost to Tennessee Tech earlier in the year, we wouldn't be freaking out? Remember Georgia State a few years ago?
Well, hell, you remember how we acted after the Colorado game this year? No, I completely agree.
I don't get it. I just don't get it is what I'm saying. I don't understand.
No, I don't either. I think it's because everybody's got a chubby for Tony Vitello, which is fine.
Is it because he's hot?
Well, he shaved his beard.
He shaved his beard. I didn't recognize him.
Yeah,
He looked awful. Looked like a river rat.
Remember when he first came here? He looked like a young Billy Zane.
He did.
Anyway, go ahead, Harb. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Which when Tennessee baseball lost this weekend back to back, I was one of the ones saying that it's early. Like your first 2 games of the year are all the way across the country against 2 teams that's pretty much a home game for. Like, whatever, dude. It's February. Like, it's fine. However, I've also been one of those people that has been saying, like, hey, let's pump the brakes on the basketball team, which I'll get more into that when we get on the latest game. But yeah, you can't have it both ways. Like you can't criticize the hell out of one team for losing a couple in a row and then be like, oh, it's okay, honey. It's okay. Get them next time to the other one. I mean, keep that same energy. I'm right there with you, Nease. I wholeheartedly.
I mean, I was mad Saturday night because Tennessee lost earlier in the day to Kentucky, and we'll talk about that in a second. But just seeing that score Saturday night after we first on Friday night, I was like, well, Arizona's usually a pretty decent baseball program. I know they're unranked, but they're usually a pretty decent baseball program. I looked up Grand Canyon. They've won their conference, I think, 2 years in a row. But we're Tennessee. We're number 2 in the country. We've got 7 freaking All-Americans. What are we doing here, guys? Like, I want people to be outraged just as much over this as they are Rick Barnes and the Vols losing 5 out of 7. The floor is yours.
Hell yeah.
The floor is yours.
Who has the floor?
Anybody.
I mean, hell, I don't have anything to say.
That's my rant for the show. I just really, and look, I get it. It's early. I'm not freaking out about Tennessee baseball. I guess I was just agitated Saturday night because I'm a huge fan of Rick Barnes. I think what he does here is like that's how I would want my program run if I ran a program. And I like where he's got Tennessee basketball, even though they're struggling right now. But if you see her, I'm not watching this team anymore. Oh, they're going to be one and done. I mean, it's just all this. And like, how many times? What has Vitello done? Yes, he went to the College World Series. Fantastic. He didn't win anything. He finished 8th. They lost 2 in a row. What'd they do last year? Tennessee baseball last year will never go down as the greatest college baseball team ever because they couldn't get out of the super regionals. If they would have went to Omaha and won, I promise you that team would have been the greatest college baseball team ever. And they choked. And everybody's just, it's Tony's got us going. He's good. And I get it. He's not been here as long as Barnes. And Barnes has a track record of losing some games in March.
I will say
it's
that
aggravating.
Isn't Vitello in his 5th year now?
I believe he's in his 5th year, yes.
Yeah,
Tony's won just as many championships as Barnes, though, correct?
Yeah, they both won 1 last year. Well, I mean,
Barnes has got a regular season.
Rick got a raise too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna give y'all a statement and a question. The statement is just playing devil's advocate onto your rant. A baseball team losing 2 in a row in February is not the same as a basketball team losing back-to-back games in February.
It's not.
That's the counterpoint that I have, and I understand. Here's my question for y'all. Going forward, who do you think has more pressure on them going forward, Tennessee coaches wise? I'm gonna leave Heupel out because he far and beyond exceeded expectations last year. He's fine. Does Rick Barnes or Tony Vitello have more pressure going forward?
Got to be Rick Barnes. Basketball is a bigger thing than baseball.
I understand that, but I mean, Tony V's coming off a season where everybody was crowning us best team ever, blah blah blah, and then we don't even make it to the World Series.
I'll give you. You got to throw Kelly Harper in there because
no, you don't.
Yes, you can. Yes, you should. She's in her 4th year, and they still can't compete with UConn, South Carolina.
I just thought we were talking about giving a shit. So,
hey,
well, here's my point.
This is a Tennessee show. So
here's my okay. Here's my point to Kelly Harper. I don't even know if she's under pressure. She just might be out. Like that's kind of how I was looking at it. Like the way I look at Barnes and Vitello is, it would take a major scandal for them to get fired. Yes. Like I don't think either one of them are getting fired.
Yes.
Barnes is going to retire or get caught in a damn sex ring or something, and Vitello is either going to right. Yeah. God forbid the last 2 things happen.
Well, I think the thing
is either going to stay his whole career or bounce to somewhere else. So
I think the reason I brought up Kelly Harper is because when everybody brought her in, she's like, oh, she was Pat's point guard. And look, they've not had a terrible season. They're 11-2 in the conference or 12-2 or something. I don't know what they are, but they still can't beat anybody in the top 10. And I don't know when that's ever going to change. She's been here 4 years. Like in basketball, you get 2 or 3 years, that stuff that cycle's over with. So I don't know. I agree though. Rick Barnes probably has more pressure on him because he's been here longer. They've achieved some success and they've been on the cusp of achieving a little more, and they just hadn't been able to get over the top. Vitello's in the same boat, but he's not been here. I mean, Barnes is in his 8th year. Vitello's in his 5th. Now, if they come out, which I don't think they will this year, to that scorching hot start like they did last year, and they do the same thing they did last year, then there's going to be some questions around Tony Vitello and his team. Like, hey, you guys were really good in 2021. You got bounced in 2 games in Omaha. You guys were above pretty good in 2022. You didn't even get to Omaha against a team that wasn't even a seeded team. I mean, they weren't even a national seed last year in Notre Dame. And hats off to Notre Dame. They just came out and beat us. But I think there'll be some questions there. But to answer your question, I think it's Barnes. If there is any pressure on him from the administration, it would be Barnes.
Fair.
Yeah.
I don't really know who I would pick, honestly. Since both of y'all picked Barnes, I'm gonna find a way to argue Vitale. That's
why I brought up Harper.
Well, I don't.
What about Karen Weekly? What's she done lately?
Hey, remember back in the summer, I ranted about her.
This year, then,
like, what if? I mean, they're good again. They're top. I think they're 9th last I saw.
Yeah.
But again, this university, if you could make a new logo for it, it would be somebody gagging or choking. The universal sign of choking, and it's a guy choking with a power T next to it. How many times the Lady Vols should have won the national title in softball with Monica Abbott? They were leading. Was it Arizona or Oklahoma? I can't remember. And they blew it, and then lost the next game and blew it. And they've been to the College World Series, I think, 3 or 4 times, and can't pull it off. And they go to the region or super regional every year and get upset. And they just can't get over the hump. Great program. You can't fire Karen Weekly. I mean, she is Tennessee softball, her and Ralph. But when are you going to get us over the top? Seriously. So, keeping this thing rolling here, I'm going to let you all go. This is Big Montana and Harb session. Tennessee and Kentucky last weekend. The Vols, after beating Alabama, whatever reason in the world, they come out just as flat as they can be. I didn't get to watch the first half live. I got home and saw the last, I think, 4 or 5 minutes of the Kentucky game, and it was about the same with last night's Texas A&M game. But they come out flat as they can be at Kentucky, I thought. And how in the world you come out flat in a game like that, your biggest rival on the road in one of the most historic venues in college basketball, you come out flat, you can't throw it in the ocean. They couldn't make layups. And I don't know. What was your all's thoughts on the game? Because I told somebody today, I'm at a loss with this team right now. I know they've got some injuries. There's something not right about them. And I think part of it is probably the injuries, but they don't have a point guard that can shoot. They don't have a point guard or any guard that can really break anybody off the dribble, although Vescovi's playing his tail off right now, or Vescovy, whatever you want to call him. But I don't know. There's just something for the past 7 games. This team's just not – there's something not right about them. I can't put my finger on it, but maybe you all can. What do you think?
I'll give my recap analysis of the Kentucky game first. That first half – I feel like I've said this a lot over the last 3 weeks, but that first half was one of the worst halves of Tennessee basketball I think I've ever watched. And that might be the second or third time I've said that in February, which is the real sad part. Couldn't throw it in the ocean. We looked lost out there, especially Tyreek Key. I hate the dog a college athlete, but my God, he played so damn bad in that game. Vescovy answered the bell in the second half. We semi made it interesting for a while, but we dug a ditch so damn deep there was no coming back from it. Like, Kentucky didn't even play that great. Like, if we're being honest,
I thought Tennessee offensively was like a totally different team in the second half against Kentucky. At one point, they were shooting over 70%. They shot 18 in the first half. How does that happen?
I don't know. It's frustrating. It gives me headaches watching them. I don't know what it is. Now, I will say, which I'm going to keep most of this in the clip from when we actually get to it, but after watching the Texas A&M game, it's bullshit that Josiah James ain't playing right now. I truly believe that. I think he is a higher percentage healthy than Vescovy is right now. And I don't know why he's not playing. Unless there is something super eerie that we don't know. But hell, one of y'all was saying that Dykes dogged him before the game, pretty much.
I think it was Day, and somebody else separate from our podcast text group texted me and said, I couldn't believe that Jimmy Dykes called him out like that. He said he watched him go through warmups and he couldn't believe he wasn't playing.
They said he was jumping around, sliding. Like,
was he in? I didn't get to see hardly any of the game last night. Was he in uniform?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Be honest, I was working last night, so I only watched bits and pieces.
I literally only saw the last 2.5 minutes, which took 20 minutes, by the way, because they kept going to the monitor.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about Lexington there, Big Montana?
Huh?
What do you think about Lexington?
What?
What do you think about Lexington?
What? Boys, listen, I'm gonna start this off. It's been a long 2 weeks for you two. I'm gonna pour y'all some single batch Junction 35 here for one of my customers at A&B. I'm gonna top Nease off here a little bit. And I'm gonna shoot Harb a double because there ain't nobody been as wrong about UT basketball this year than Harb. So I'm gonna have to give him a double. Set you boys up. Here you go, gentlemen. Cheers to you. Boys, I told you from the beginning, when the grass grows, Rick goes. And that's exactly what's happened. Listen, we hit 70 degrees this week in February.
I was about to say, my yard's pretty green right now.
The Lord is just talking to us in a way that we need to listen. Rick Barnes is paying for past sins. That's all I can say about it. He's done something in his 20s that in his 70s he's paying for. So he just cannot win when the grass grows. It's about to be March. We've talked about baseball, we've talked about basketball. Boys, the baseball team put up 15 runs in an inning today. The University of Tennessee basketball team put up 19 and a half on Saturday. That's pretty damn bad. We're going to have to figure out whether, if we're going to be good guys or if we're going to, audience of one, or if we're going to, get after this, or we're going to keep a man on board because he's been a good coach all of his career, or if we're going to come here and win championships and actually compete in March. Listen, there's been a lot of good men been fired from jobs that they probably could have stayed at till they retired. But we're going to have to, and I'm not saying that Rick Barnes needs to be fired. I'm not. But he needs to start winning. He's got to win in March. He has to advance in the tournament. And I hope he does this year. He's going to make it. We're probably going to be, a 5 seed now?
I mean, hell,
I haven't. Last I saw, they still had us as a 3 in most of them.
Listen, I get it. He's not going anywhere. We're not going to fire him. You cannot fire a guy because whatever you can, but we're not, right? We're not Georgia. We don't fire Mike Rick to hire a better coach to win national championships. I get that. We're not Georgia. We're Tennessee. So, boys, that Kentucky game, and I've said it all year long, if you got to be motivated to play Kentucky, don't be on the damn court. And I've give Rick Barnes a hard time, but I'm going to tell you what the real issue is. We don't have any damn dogs on this team. I think we got some pretty decent players, but I honestly don't think they have grown as a team. I don't think they have been, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think they've showed any progression, to be honest with you, since they've been here. I feel like Zakai has decreased in his ability. I know Vescovi's hurt. I'm glad he played last night. Apparently he was sick. But, Keys out here has no idea what he's doing. It looks like they don't practice, boys. It looks like we practice during the offseason and we're just running. And I honestly, if you're not hitting free throws as a college basketball player, I don't know what to tell you. I honestly think to be able to get a college scholarship, you have to pass an ACT, right? Well, you ought to be able to hit 6 out of 10 freaking free throws to be on a college basketball team. I mean, my goodness.
I will say our big men have been awful at the free throw line.
Yes.
Euros, Nawaka, and they were one of 8 Saturday.
There is not a single reason after beating the number one team in the nation to walk into Rupp Arena and be intimidated at all. I don't care what they did to you the last time. You just put the biggest team in the nation down the road. They should have won by 20 points. They came out thinking they were going to walk through them because they beat Alabama and they got their ass whipped.
Yeah.
But it's the same damn story every year.
You need to specify that he needs to win in March. You're talking about the NCAA tournament. You're not talking about
win these games.
But you said he needs to win in March. He just won.
He needs to win in March.
He did last year. He did last year.
He won the SEC championship.
That's why I'm saying you gotta. We need to separate.
He needs to win. He needs to win the. He needs to win the NCAA. He needs to go to the Elite Eight or Sweet 16.
Okay, that's better.
So I guess I need to come clean. I guess this is my time to say a word or two. I defended this team for the whole month of February. Well, we'll call it first 3 weeks of February. When people were saying, "Oh, 3 bad games in a row," panic button, I said no. Then the 4th one came. I said no. Well, we beat Alabama. Don't you dare start recording me. Don't you damn dare.
I'm texting the
customer. Okay. So we beat Bama. I'm like,
it doesn't matter. We're recording this anyways.
I know. It's just the fact he'd have it on his damn phone. We beat Bama. I was ready to roll. And then you come out and do that against Kentucky and A&M. I've broken the damn panic button. I think this team's a damn well done $2 steak right now. Like it's not good. Like I don't know how you could pull any sort of positives from the last 2 games. But I truly believe that some chemistry's off because Josiah's not out there, and I think that he can be. Yeah, something's up.
Yeah, I agree with you, Harb. I mean, I'm not giving up on this team yet. It's hard to say. I mean, when you say it out loud after watching them the last 3 weeks now, 2.5, 3 weeks. I know Day Vol, I sat with him at the Bama game, and I don't think he was reeled back in, but he's been out of the mix here on him for the last couple of weeks, and Big Montana was in there with him. But you and I have been pretty outspoken that we believe in this team and think they're good. And I've said all year I thought this team was a national championship contending team. The only thing that bothered me a little bit was their offensive output, but they were still top 30 in the country. Remember when I did that chart or analysis of teams in the Ken Palm era the past 10 years that won the national title? Where were they ranked? Well, Tennessee was right there with them. And I haven't looked this week. I haven't had time, but the last I looked, they were like 41st in adjusted offense, still ranked number 1 in defense. I mean, defense hadn't been the problem except against Missouri in the first half a couple of weeks ago. But I just think how much what our outlook would be on this team right now if we hadn't given up that prayer half-court heave to Missouri and we hadn't let Vanderbilt shoot a wide-open 3 in the corner. Think if those 2 shots go off right now, because currently Tennessee's, 20-8, 9-6 in the conference. So say those 2 shots don't go in. Tennessee's currently 22-6, 11-4 in the conference, and probably ranked in the top 5 still, even after losing these games this week.
While I agree with you, and I wholeheartedly know what you're saying, those shots did go in, and we did lose those games.
Well, you're right.
What if I never fell in love with McDonald's and gained 100 pounds?
Yeah.
I'm just saying the outlook.
What if my aunt had testicles? Would she be my uncle? All right.
Yeah, well, it is 2023.
Yeah.
So I guess what I was trying to say is would we be having this conversation right now if those 2 shots did not go in? And let me be frank, the one against Vandy was bad. I mean, that guy had a wide open three. He should have made it. The one against Missouri was a prayer, and it was just unfortunate. Should we have been in that spot? No. Missouri played their tails off, and they hit some crazy shots that game. But I'm just saying, like, would we be having this conversation right now if those two shots didn't go in? Because the outlook on the season would be totally different.
The conversation obviously wouldn't be the exact same. We'd probably be looking at those games as we gritted out two good close conference wins. Like the Missouri game was down 17 in the first half,
Yes,
16 or whatever it was. We'd be talking about how impressive of a comeback it was. The Vandy game, the offense played pretty good. We'd be talking about how good the offense looked in that game. Gutted one out on the road at in that little damn gymnasium they got. Yeah, sure. But that still doesn't change the fact that we really don't have any dogs. It feels like we have a half a dog a game, and it constantly changes. Like the Kentucky game, it was Vescovy. Game before the Bama game. Hell, when we win, I mean, we have a lot of guys step up, but it's so few and far between when we do. The most confusing thing about this team is I would rather play a team that's ranked in the top 5 than I would that's not ranked. Because for whatever reason, hell, what are we against top 10 opponents? 4-1.
who have we lost to?
Arizona.
Oh, Arizona. I forgot about them. Yes, you're right. 4-1.
Yeah. Helen, you look at our record in conference play against unranked opponents, which A&M was top 20 or was number 25, but I mean it's damn awful. We don't have a go-to guy on offense. We have a bunch of guys that would thrive in scoring 6 to 11 points a game as in a role. Yeah, we play good defense, cool, but sometimes you're going to get officiating where the other team shoots 40 free throws like you did in College Station, so you can't hang your hat on that every damn night. I look like a clown. I almost wore a damn red nose and a damn afro and some paint. Yeah. But in this weird, twisted mind of mine, the last few years we've been expecting a run with Tennessee, and it never came. I think as of right now, 90% of the fan base is expecting absolutely nothing, and it just, in a weird way, I just kind of have this feeling like this would be the year that we made one because everybody's already checked out on them. Like that's just kind of like
I think
weird little thing that I have going on in my brain, and that's like the 0.5% reason why I'm not giving up.
The reason I'm not giving up on them is I don't think they're healthy right now. I mean
they're not. But
I know Phillips hadn't been great this year, but he's still a threat offensively, and Triple J can still be a threat offensively, and he's great on defense, his leadership, which I think they're sorely missing out on the court, like you said earlier. But I mean, just look, this team has showed this year they beat Alabama, they beat Kansas, they took Arizona on the road to the wire, and college basketball is wide open. That's why I'm not totally checked out on them. But if they can't figure something out, they're not going to go anywhere this March.
I think the biggest thing is outside of health. Hell, we weren't healthy against Alabama. We had two starters out.
No, you're right.
We whooped their ass. But guess where it was? It was in Knoxville.
TBA.
This team struggles. This team is a below average basketball team away from Knoxville. And I hate to say that, but it's true. Like you look at Kentucky, Florida, Vandy, Texas A&M, Arizona, Kansas. Those are all not in the friendly confines. How many losses do we have at home this year? 2. Yeah, Kentucky and Missouri. Yeah. Colorado. It was in Nashville. Should have been a home game type. We struggle away from our backyard. It just is what it is. And I don't think there's really any disputing that anymore. And that is extremely concerning.
I don't know. Did you all see that? I can't remember what was it, the Alabama game last week? I went back and rewatched it. They put up a stat during the game. Of course, this has changed because you could add another loss for Tennessee in there last Saturday. But I think top 15 teams on the road this year, as of that Alabama game that night, were 65 and 61. So you could have made it that after that night 65 and 62 because Alabama lost on the road. And then Tennessee went on the road last Saturday and lost at Kentucky. So 65 and 63. I'm sure that's changed. Like Virginia lost tonight, number 6. They went down by 15 at Boston College. You're right though. I mean, Tennessee's really struggled on the road this year for I don't know what the reason is, but I got a question for Big Montana, who looks like he's at the beach there. He's got that hamburger meat hanging back out again, Harb.
He's getting ready for March.
He's getting ready for March, ready for spring break.
I was waiting on him to say it, and he never did, so I'll just steal his thing.
So,
boys, you've been waiting on March.
Texas A&M. Tennessee was 10 of 14 at the free throw line. All right. Texas A&M was 28 of 34. And don't say anything just yet. A disturbing trend. At Kentucky, and this is what Big Montana was referencing earlier, Tennessee was 4 of 14 at the free throw line. So that's back-to-back games with only 14. Don't worry about the makes or misses. That's not what I'm talking about.
I know where you're going with this.
So 14 free throws. And then Kentucky, listen here, 23 of 35. So we had back-to-back games where teams shot 38 and 35. And I hadn't looked up the rest of the season. I know it wasn't like that against Alabama, but this shows you, I've said it all year, this team's a jump shooting team. They don't have much of a post game. I don't know what's happened to Kamwa. He's just completely vanished. And
speaking of Kamwa, who in the hell told him to force that 3 at the end of the game last night with like 17 seconds on the shot clock?
That's just him.
I'm not saying that's why we lost, but that's the damn shot you get.
But that's the problem with this team right now is they don't, like you all said, and it's not even about being a dog. It's about, hey, I'm going to go out there. And they don't have that guy that they can turn to. Like, hey, I'm gonna go out there. I might miss it, but they don't have that guy that can go out there and take that shot. It showed last night at the end of the game.
Yeah, Vescovy ain't it. Ziegler ain't it.
Well, Vescovy, his problem is he can't get open on his own. Yeah. So unless you run a set play, it ain't him. Right. And I thought A&M last night did a great job on Ziegler because it was a mismatch. That guy was a head taller than he was, and he made it really hard on him, but they just they never could get into a set play to find somebody a basket. Or, I mean, the shot Ziegler took, I wasn't as upset with it as some people, but I mean, that's the best thing you could, I mean, at least you had plenty of time to drive to the basket. It's just, I think they're overthinking right now offensively. They're just, and that has been an issue. I thought last year at times, Tennessee overpassed the basketball. And they're not taking bad shots this year, guys. They just can't shoot. And I don't know what's going on with Tyreek Key. That kid has scored his whole life. And then for some reason here, he can't throw it in the ocean. He can't make a 5-footer in the lane. I don't know.
That and I know I'm a big Barnes basher, and rightfully so sometimes, but I really wish we could have got that timeout last night with 10 seconds or whatever on that steal. It was so bang bang. I know Landry tweeted us about it. That would have been really nice to draw up a play where you could have maybe got, Vescovy on a pick and roll or something to be able, or a screen to be able to get a shot off.
Now, was he talking about the loose ball where A&M stole it back and then they got the time? I was confused on his tweet.
Whenever I think it was Vescovy got the ball right in front of Rick Barnes, he was hoping Rick would have called a timeout right there.
Oh, okay.
But within 1 second of Vescovy getting the ball, he looked around the dribble and he got swatted and they stole it and then we fouled.
See, I don't know if you go back and look. I'm pretty sure Ziegler was open in the corner there, so I wasn't I was like kicking into the corner because he was standing
Yeah,
wall right
maybe.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tough though. I
Right.
mean, that is tough. But and then another thing
But
last
like,
night, that loose ball, just before you go, Big Montana, that loose ball, I know a lot of people were screaming, how can you give A&M a timeout? That's hard. That was very hard to see.
yeah,
That was kind of crazy that they got a
yeah.
timeout out of that. They didn't even have control, but
we were
that is
lucky.
tough.
We were lucky that we didn't get a foul called on us because like we were sitting
Yeah.
on the guy's head when he was
Yeah.
trying to get the ball. So, but listen, we talk about these are college kids or whatever. Like I understand that they're 18 years old. Like their peers are going getting blown up in foreign countries. Like we can talk about them. I don't give a shit. You know, they provide a service to us. They get to go to school. We get to watch the product. It's entertainment. This is how the world works. Okay. They're getting benefits, whether it's NIL deals or whatever, or they're getting the ability to play a game they love. They're playing a game. Like this is not, some type of execution thing if you don't perform well. This isn't the World Cup. This is college basketball. And we love these guys. If they win or lose, who gives a shit? But anyway, but they're playing like a bunch of babies. Like there's no dog. Like, we're not developing as a team. We're not developing as players. Like, and Zakai tweeted last night, love us while they hate us and love us when they love us. Blah, blah, blah. Dude, win ball games. That's what you're here for. We built your mama house. Shut up. Score.
See, I disagree with all. See, that's what I'm talking about earlier. Like,
yeah, hanging a good deed over somebody's head. I'm not.
Well, it's not even that.
I'm not talking about that.
No,
like,
but somebody worded it that way on Twitter earlier, and I'm like, you're the dumbest human.
That's not what I meant. I'm proving that
you didn't mean it that way, but that other guy did. That's sorry.
I'm trying to show you that I'm trying to prove that hey, we love Zakai and we'll do whatever for our own people. So don't come at us and we get mad because you're not performing well.
Right
now. I understand what that guy did was a dickhead move. But what I'm saying is, man, we've proved we love you. We're here thick and thin. Like, we've done all we can to help you. Like, don't get mad because we get upset that y'all didn't win the game. Say, hey, it's on me. We'll come back and win the next one. That's how you approach that situation. First of all, I honestly think that they don't need to be on social media. That's just me.
Not a whole lot of good comes out of social media.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
Not at all.
That's what. So when I text you all Saturday night, I was on social media catching up on some stuff, and I'd had a couple chocolate milks, and I had I gotta get off. I didn't watch anything Saturday night. I did watch. I did I did watch Elimination Chamber, Harbin. I did watch the Elimination Chamber, Harbin.
Hell yeah! Is that what you call it?
But I went outside.
I didn't know you was into that.
That's what she said. I went outside and built a fire.
That's what I call a man cave.
I went outside and built a fire, and I was like, sometimes you just gotta turn the TV off and turn everything off. I needed a couple
Praise
hour
God,
break.
homie. Shout out Theo Vaughn. Praise God, homie.
God, my God, it really just disintegrated here.
Hey, speaking of everything we've been talking about, there is a young listener listening tonight. One of my good friends.
He's listening right now as we're recording this.
No, but he listens on his way to school. I'm pretty sure he is the son of one of my clients at work. Chef Wet is his handle, but it's Mitch. You've met him at a tailgate party.
Oh yeah.
His son loves the YY8 podcast. He's a big Tennessee fan living in Abington, Virginia. So he's repping the T out of state. But he listens every day to school, and every morning he says, "Dad, I want to listen to Big Montana." He knows what he's talking about. So big shout out to Easton.
Shout out to Easton.
You need to have better role models in your life. Look at your teachers and your preachers, and look at your parents. Don't look at some idiot wearing a Hawaiian shirt on a podcast
In February.
But if you do, in February, because we're waiting for March. But young man, he's actually a little baller. Apparently, he's a little football prodigy. He's out here stunting on them hoes, throwing up the Heisman Trophy celebration after he scores. So he's a little stud. He's got 6 or 7 girlfriends. Easton, proud of you, bud. Get
Doing
to
better.
class.
By the way, Easton,
Glad you're
Doing
listening.
6 times better than me.
By the way, Easton,
Right.
shout out for listening to us. And I just want to clarify that when we was saying Elimination Chamber, we were 1,000,000% talking about the World Wrestling Entertainment. So
Exactly.
I do want to just confirm that real quick.
The Elimination Chamber could have meant several things.
But we're referring to the pay-per-view that was in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Hey,
that is, by the way, a PG show.
So you know, I work with the EST, Bianca Belair's dad, and her husband Montez Ford was in the United States Championship Elimination Chamber match, and he got curb stomped by Seth Rollins, and they made this big production like he was really hurt. And his eyes were crossed, and he was dragging his feet. They were carrying him out. Well, they did all that to let Logan Paul in the ring to ruin Seth Rollins' championship hopes there that night. So that was a really good match. If you haven't watched it, Harb, go back and watch it. Look it up.
I need to.
It was actually that was one of the better shows they've had in a while.
Nice.
And I don't watch it a lot anymore. I'll just full disclosure. I watch more 90s Attitude Era wrestling than I do anything else.
I do know I did watch Roman Reigns' entrance. I watched a clip of it, and that was like the amount of heat that he got just from walking out. Because for those that probably don't care about wrestling, Sami Zayn was the guy that Roman Reigns was facing. They had this big, long storyline for over a year. Well, Sami Zayn is from Montreal, which is where the live show was, and they were wrestling for the WWE Championship. Well, Sami Zayn comes out there, place literally loses its lid, goes nuts, whatever. Roman Reigns comes out there, and that was a top 5 boo I've ever heard in wrestling. Like that, like you remember that ECW One Night Stand when John Cena wrestled Rob Van Dam? Like it was that loud.
It was brutal. I'll tell you another one, and we'll get back to the Vols. Another big one was when, and I'll have to look up the pay-per-view, but remember when it was Canada versus United States, and that was when Stone Cold was getting hot. And it was the Hart Foundation. Oh, God, I'm going to have to look it up while we're talking here. It was the Hart Foundation versus 5 guys from the United States, and it was in Canada. And those boys from the United States, they took a pounding when they came out that night. I don't know. I'll have to look it up here while we're talking. But any final thoughts on the? I didn't mean it that way. By the way, they didn't take a lot of verbal abuse. Let me just say that.
Easton, if you're listening,
Easton, they booed really loudly.
Yes. I'm trying to find it here. It's not the Nation of Domination. My God,
this is going so far downhill.
So, anyways, let's wrap up the Vols. Let's look at this here. We got wrap it up. Like Major Wingate, when he was handing out his little thing I was talking about last week. You can go back and listen for those who haven't. The Vols got South Carolina this weekend. The Cox are coming to Thompson Bowling Arena. Couple things I'm interested in watching. I won't get to watch the game again. The Hornets play region quarterfinal Saturday night, 7:00, Jim Williams Gymnasium, Carter High School.
I'll be there. I'm gonna go watch the Carter Hornets over the Vols.
What day is that?
Saturday night.
Good for you. I'm rooting for the Slim Reaper to come on the show.
I am too.
Hey, by the way, the Slim Reaper, when he was announced in the starting lineups, had the town he hails from announced. From Mascot, Tennessee.
Oh my God! Get this
Brody Blankenship.
Win or lose, get him on here. I don't care. He's already a champion.
And I didn't. Of course, all these kids are from. Well, some of them aren't. They're from Straw Plains, so it's kind of hard to say everybody would be Strawberry Plains. Yeah. But Brody's like, announce my name, announce me. I'm from Mascot. And I said, are you really from Mascot? And he told me what road he lived on. He doesn't live there. And I was like, heck, all right, you're in, because that's where I'm from. So I announced it as from Mascot. And the whole bench was like busting out laughing. I looked over. It was great.
Oh man!
All right, back. All right, sorry, back on topic here. The Vols play South Carolina Saturday, who currently, with 11:28 to go in the second half, is beating Alabama 47-44. Two things I'm interested in seeing: how the Vols bounce back. We talked about it. They've lost 5 out of 7. They're in a rough spot. George Clooney says, and "Oh brother, where art thou?" We're in a tight spot here. Yeah. So how do they respond? All right. How do they come out and play? Are they going to come out flat, struggle, not shoot the ball well? And I want to see, of course, I won't be there. What is the crowd like? Is it because there's constantly I get these emails all the time and these tweets. They're like limited tickets remaining, games almost sold out, and all the games I think this one's sold out. I think Arkansas still got a handful of tickets available, but I'm interested to see like the student section. Are they going to be down on them again? Because the last time we played Saturday night at 6:00, the upper deck student section was completely empty. Well, not completely empty, 3/4 empty. So what's the fans like? Are they going to, or is 21,000 going to be there? Or is it going to be 16, 17,000? It just Saturday night, 6:00. What else is there to do in Knoxville besides go to the Hornets game? I don't know. What are your all thoughts about the upcoming slate?
There is a 0% chance that every seat in that building will be full on a Saturday at 6:00 to watch a team that's lost 5 out of their last 7 play a team that we've previously beat by 43. And I don't know what's going to happen in that game. I would assume we'll win.
99% chance we win that game, it says.
Hey, throw in the Dumb and Dumber clip right here. So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, really.
I don't know. You would think this would be a great opportunity to bounce back, ease in Josiah James off his phantom injury. I don't know how Julian Phillips is feeling right now. I would imagine that he's probably legitimately hurt. That crowd's not going to be full. It's going to be dead. That's what I'd bet on. It's a Tennessee Saturday night, man. Nobody cares about South Carolina coming to town when you're 2-5 in the last 6 weeks. That's or 4 weeks, whatever the hell it's been. But this is an absolute must win.
Yes.
That there is no other way to put that. Because if you lose one more, I think you talked about this last week. We're already like treading water. But you lose one more conference game, you're thrown in the middle of a wild whirlpool.
I was going to say earlier, I was going to come on here, and this is not normal. You don't want to have me like a mental check. I was going to brag on Vandy because Vandy beat us, and everybody's like, "Well, that was a terrible loss." Well, they were 8-6, and I was getting ready to come in here. They were going to pass us in the standings tonight.
Nope.
They lost to LSU, one of the worst teams in the conference.
LSU got their second conference win and broke a 15-game losing streak.
I actually bragged on them to somebody last night. I said, that Vandy loss don't look as bad now. And then they lost to LSU, so never mind. Big Montana, I know you're looking forward to March, but over the next week or so, let's start with South Carolina. What are you looking for from the Vols here?
Listen, this is all on UT, on the players. If you don't like how you're being accepted and treated and tweeted about and all this stuff, prove us wrong. Prove me wrong. I want to be wrong. Go win some ball games. Beat Auburn. Beat South Carolina. Who else we got left?
Arkansas.
Beat Arkansas. Finish strong. Can we still get the first couple of game bye in the SEC? Is that still possible?
Right now, Tennessee's still 4th.
Do so that. Yes. Go out there. Win the damn tournament. Win that one. Put another trophy in the trophy case. Get something out of this season. You've let so much get by you. Get something out of it. Then get that chip on your shoulder. Think of me. I'm saying you can't do it. Get to the Sweet 16. Then all you got to do is win one more. Let's win some damn games. Y'all went on 7-game winning streaks before. Do it again. Shut me up. I don't want to be wrong. Do it.
You know what I think Tennessee needs right now? This isn't a joke. They need a week off. They need like a bye game, you could say South Carolina is, but hell, they're taking Alabama down to the wire tonight. But I'm serious. This team looks like they need no game this Saturday.
Alabama's currently trying to cover up murder. They've got a full plate right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule here. Let's look at the schedule to finish the season. They got 3 games left. South Carolina this Saturday, Arkansas, Thompson Bowling Arena next Tuesday night, and then they go to Auburn, who also is hadn't seen their score tonight. They've lost 6 out of 8. Let's see. They are currently only ahead by 1 point against Ole Miss at home. They're playing at Auburn with 5 minutes to go in the second half. So by the time you listen to this podcast, that game will be over. But, I mean, Auburn's not playing good at all right now. Arkansas has been up and down due to injury this year, and South Carolina is just awful. So Tennessee's got 3 winnable games coming up to kind of salvage this thing, hold on to that 4 seed, and get to Nashville with a double bye and have some time off. They just look to me. They look like they need a break physically and mentally.
Need something.
Yep. Hey, Harbin. I found the pay-per-view I was talking about. It was the Canadian Stampede.
Oh,
it was the Hart Foundation.
The 5.
I'll look it up here in just a second. It was a historic 10-man tag match. The Hart Foundation versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Legion of Doom, Ken Shamrock, and Gold Dust.
Love it.
I've seen that match.
It was an In Your House pay-per-view, by the way. Missed the In Your House. Let's see who was in that match. Obviously, you got Bret Hart, Owen Hart, British Bulldog,
the Anvil
Neidhart, and I'm guessing
Brian Pillman.
Brian Pillman.
It's Brian Pillman.
Now, here it is. The Hart Foundation featuring Bret Hart, Jim Neidhart, Owen Hart, British Bulldog, and Brian Pillman. Remember when Stone Cold broke in Brian Pillman's house which one was going to shoot the other one? It was Stone Cold, wasn't
Pillman pulled a gun on
Pillman pulled a gun on Austin.
Yeah.
He was going to shoot him. The Attitude Era is unmatched.
This is completely side note, but I was reading up on that story a couple years ago, and WWF at the time did not run that idea by the USA Network.
I saw that.
And USA Network was like, dude, if y'all ever do some stuff like that again, like, we're dropping y'all.
It's when Austin broke into his house after he had broken Pillman's ankle. And when he broke in the house, Pillman pulled a gun on him. And yeah, the USA Network had no idea that was happening.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, we got to wrap this thing up. Closing thoughts, starting with Harbin.
All things considered, outside of UT basketball, the last few days or the last about week or so, it's been really fun. Wednesday night, I went to the Bama game. That was obviously a good time. Thursday night, I went and seen Whiskey Myers, that apparently Big Montana is not a fan of. We're not having that conversation. I had a great time. It was a great show. Friday night, went to the Cotton Eye Joe and saw another one of my favorite bands. They go by 49 Winchester. If you don't know them, you need to. And then Sunday, I loaded up, went to Nashville, and now it's my turn to give a very special shout out. I want to give a shout out to 3 of my boys, Parker Oliver, Tucker Williams, and Zach Hockey. They played a gig at Whiskey Jam on Music Row in Nashville. Tucker and Zach were 2 of my best friends in college. Parker is one of Tucker's buddies from back in Georgia. Parker's trying to do the damn thing in Nashville, and he got an insurance salesman and a math teacher to play guitar for him, and they absolutely killed it. So shout out to them boys. They did great. They're also playing tonight. Couldn't make it, so hope that went well. It was really good to see them. Shout out to them boys.
Where'd they play at in Nashville?
Monday night was at Winners. And tonight they were playing at Tin Roof.
Nice.
Yeah. The show at Winners Monday night went really well. It was super, super fun. Unbiasedly. So Whiskey Jam, there's like 5 or 6 people go on stage, and it's all guys or girls that are trying to make it, and they get like 4 or 5 songs a piece. It's pretty much a tryout. And unbiasedly, they had the best set. The other 4 or 5 tried to do some cookie cutter pop country BS. And then Parker and the boys were like, "Man, y'all kiss my ass. We're gonna get down and play some bluesy shit." And then it healed. It was awesome.
Nice. Hey, and I will say we got some Nashville listeners. I've been meaning to give them a shout out. My friend Laura has got her coworkers listening to the show, and she always says the girls want to know when the next episode's coming out. So, but I got on to her because she lets them listen on her device. And I was like, no, they need to go listen on their own device, get our ratings up. Let's go. Listen on your phone, wherever you get podcasts. I think the wind's about to blow the Section YY8 studio down outside right now. But yeah, shout out to them for listening. We got Nashville peeps. Big Montana, what's your closing thoughts?
Boys, I'm excited for baseball season. Wasn't too impressed with the trip out there. Looks like they're back on track. The bats.
Oh, don't worry. It's early. It's early.
Hey, listen. Tony shaved his beard off. He's a puss.
Hey, we need to ask them Nashville girls about that. They're the experts.
I'm sorry that I don't listen to mediocre wannabe country music with the craft beer and following girls into the concert with armpit hair and shit like that. I get it. I understand that to be different, you're trying to be cool. It's a new life out there.
I'm gonna suffocate myself with this pillow real quick.
I'm a grown man. I have chest hair. I don't have to do the
popular
thing. I don't have to do the popular thing anymore. I just go to work and I come home and watch sports. I like real country music, George Strait, Keith Whitley.
You do realize that Whiskey Myers is not a country group, right?
Listen, they'll be whatever their agent tells them to be. It's coming. Just get used to it.
Oh dear God.
Taylor Swift will be writing their song soon enough. Don't worry.
I'm putting you on mute. I'm putting you on mute.
Zach Brown.
You're on mute.
They're a 4-man Zach Brown band. It's like I told you
Done yet? I took you off mute.
Like I told you the other day, they're great for Yellowstone credits when you have to get up and take a piss because you've been entertained for the last hour and you got to go to the bathroom. But listen, I love you boys. I'm so excited for the rest of the year. I'm excited for UT football again. I love you, brothers in Christ, YY8 podcast. If you're not listening, you should. Go Vols. Basketball team shaping up, man. Let's go. Let's finish this thing out.
Guys, we gotta support them boys. And I was saying earlier, the girls in Nashville need to weigh in. Vitello with a beard, Vitello without a beard. We need to know. What's your thoughts?
They're all gonna say with.
Do the girls in Nashville
smart then?
Do the girls in Nashville have armpit hair and like craft beer?
I have no idea who these girls
get them some
are.
Whiskey Myers tickets sponsored by the show.
Ask Matt or Laura. I have no idea who these.
Well, what's the other band, 67 Smith and Wesson or whatever you're talking about?
Go to bed.
What was it? Remington 60.
That's their name. Go to bed.
Remington 69. What other band are you listening to?
I don't know. Sorry, I don't listen to them George Strait for 25 hours a day.
Hey,
I apologize.
You know what was on in the truck on my way home?
What was
What's
it?
that?
Charlie Pride.
Oh man, he was
Kiss
good.
an Angel.
He don't know who that is.
Harb knows who Charlie Pride is. Come on.
Wrap his shit up before I get irritated.
All right, that's this week's show before Harbin comes through his computer and chokes Big Montana.
Whiskey Myers is a rock and roll band.
Shit, rock and roll.
A shirt that proves it.
I thought he was going to call him Whiskey Dick.
Whiskey Dick, Whiskey Bent, whatever.
Which is a bar, not a derogatory term.
Right.
Or that's Whiskey Dicks. I'm sorry.
That'd be all right.
There's a story I need to tell you all about Whiskey Dick. Not about me, but it's a story I
I
was
was
told.
gonna say, I got a couple.
Like I
stories
said, let's
too.
wrap this
But
up.
I'll tell you about it. It was funny. It happened at a work thing I was at one time. So I'll tell you all about it. It can't be told on air. Sorry.
It's all right.
But I appreciate everybody listening. Hope you all enjoy the show. Apparently the Nashville girls do. So shout out to them. Shout out to Chloe Shared, the YY12 podcast. And everybody else that's listening. Appreciate everybody listening. Remember, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find us on YouTube. Go there and watch us if you're at home relaxing, or if you're in the car, the truck, the van, whatever you're riding in. Pull us up on your phone and plug us in and listen. But for Harb, for Big Montana, Day Vols not here. God knows where Gavin's at.
Where's Gavin?
Who knows? But he's busy. But anyways, appreciate everybody listening. This has been the Section YY8 podcast.